we live on the Alpha Geek?
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Yay! Hello, Alpha Geek!
And that was the beginning of the show. Thank you,
Yay!
Rob.
I'll kick off the show.
This is PNRShow, Season 3, Episode 4, Holly Sam's Continued.
I'd rather have lager than wine. I'll take a strong stout over stride. I'm Prince of the Good with a half pint of ale. Live up a long life till my private parts fail. For life without liquor is to no avail. So bring me lager for mine. I'd rather have lager than wine.
That's right, Poxy Boggers. I would rather have lager than life, and so would you. Welcome to the Pint of No Return show, the Star Wars edition. Yeah, the Stout Awakens.
Yeah.
So, hey, we are really excited for this show, but we want to start off right at the top saying, spoilers! Spoilers! Spoilers!
If you haven't seen the show, stop now.
Well, the movie.
Save this one. Come back to it later.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the show, then you're not a real American.
Yeah, please go back and watch our other shows. But the movies, yeah, please don't. If you don't want to know what happens in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, at least by our interpretations, then for God's sake, go back to our Oscar podcast. See how
Go back to the show where we talked about all the Force Awakens rumors.
Yeah, see if we were right.
And there were some things that were right, and there were some
we got some stuff right. Yeah. So yeah, this show is going to be all about Star Wars today, and that is only strengthened by our choice of beers. We're sticking with the Samuel Adams Winter Pack or Seasonal Pack, and what we've got, folks, is the light side versus the dark side. Winter Lager versus Chocolate Bock. Who will win out in a battle of the hops?
I think the dark side's going to win this one.
I think the light side is going to be all over it. So, gentlemen, I would first like to wish you all a Happy New Year. Welcome to 2016.
Happy New Year!
We're in the future, man.
Yeah, hope you all enjoyed your holidays. You out there in the audience land have had a nice break from the Pint of No Return show, but now, just like going back to work, the podcast is back on the air.
We are here to bring you back down.
But I'm going to give you a late Christmas present. I'm not going to take you through all the many ways to contact us. Just look at PNRShow.com and they'll be there. So
wait,
does anybody check to make sure that's up?
Does that thing work?
Hey,
all right, awesome.
Yeah,
so let us begin with just like a sunrise. We begin with the light first. Let us begin with the light side of the Force. Samuel Adams Winter Lager. We have done this on the show before, but they change up the recipe a little bit every year. This year we've got...
And it's not a beer that you can get all year long either.
Correct.
So nice to do it once in a while.
This year, I don't remember if it was
Did we do it
way before.
Was it HTMH that you did that, or was
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we've done the Winter Lager on this incarnation of the show, and this is a different version of it for sure, because this one has orange peel, cinnamon, and ginger.
Right, so they've changed the concoction a little bit. And this is actually... Yeah, I was about to say, even though it's described as a winter lager on the label, it technically is a dark wheat bock. So it has some shades of the dark side of the Force inside of it.
It's conflicted, doesn't know what it is.
Yeah. So I got the special official bottle opener for today. That's right.
Wait, is there a theme?
Yeah.
I've heard that song
Disney's suing us now.
No.
Already the lawyers are coming after us.
All right. So Ooh, it's got that nice hearty aroma going for it.
Ooh, yeah.
Very dark. Look at Keith's glass. Very, very dark.
Yeah, it's
It lost its head right away, though.
it did.
It's gone.
Ginger nose though, big time, which I like.
Yeah.
Making me all mouth watery.
Yeah, Keith, correct me if I'm wrong. The Winter Lager last time we did it was a much, much lighter shade of beer. If memory serves. I mean, that is.
I think
interesting.
it's always been brewed with spices. That's kind of what makes
Yes.
winter. But
Yeah.
I definitely don't remember the ginger.
Mhm.
Orange peel and cinnamon are pretty standard fare, but ginger I don't believe is in there normally.
Well,
But I could be wrong. I don't know, honestly.
Mine has kept its head. So.
The only time I pay attention to Sam Adams is around the holidays.
Or when we're doing it on the show.
Yeah, or we decide to grab something interesting.
Yeah, because we've done
Rebel
the
Ale or something like that.
we've done the summer stuff too from Sam Adams.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not getting a strong ginger, but I got orange. I can smell a little bit of
I
orange.
get orange and ginger. Ginger is like the part that's burning the back of my sinuses.
Ah,
All right, well,
are we ready?
I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Do it.
Let's do it.
All right. Prost.
Beer.
Happy New Year. May the force be with you. Mm.
Huh.
Maybe that ginger wasn't such a good idea.
Interesting. Interesting opinions floating around the table tonight.
Who wants to venture forth into 2016 with the first review?
You know, I've got very little to say about this.
Okay.
To me, this almost has no flavor.
Whoa, really?
Jeremy, what were you going to say?
I
I
close my door.
don't have anything nice to say, so I can't say anything at all. I know it tastes.
It's good to know that even in 2016, 1920s Jeremy still exists.
1920s Jeremy.
He's a grumpy old man, so yeah, 1920s would be right.
That's about right.
Yeah, it just has a really off flavor to me, like a. You know when you if you brush your teeth and then you drink orange juice and you get that funky flavor on your tongue and it's not orange juice and it just doesn't taste right? That's what this beer tastes like.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
there, but it doesn't
Really?
taste. It doesn't taste right. It's bitter, but not a good kind of bitter. I think maybe it's the ginger messing with my head. I don't know. I don't care for this beer. It's not something I would want to drink again. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a 3. So it's better than Budweiser.
Wow.
Ugh.
Mm.
This this leads me to believe that perhaps some of us have bad batches. Because even if we disagree on what a beer should be rated, we're usually tasting the same things.
Yeah.
And I'm not tasting the same things that you are.
Mine has a little bit of off flavor on the backside. It's not offensive going down. My head went away really quick, like I said. It's to me, it's just it's really bland. I don't know. Maybe I'm starting to get a head cold or something, but there's not much aroma. I'm not tasting any cinnamon, and maybe the ginger is the off flavor I'm getting on the backside. But to me, it doesn't taste like real. Like when I think of ginger in a beer, I think kind of more towards a ginger ale or a Moscow Mule kind of gingery flavor. And I'm not getting any of that.
Yeah, you expect something that's really got a bite to it.
Yeah, something bitey.
Let's see.
You guys, your beer bottles look like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
I stored mine out in the garage, which gets cold. Not probably as cold as Keith's garage. I mean, we did have some frosty nights where we were down into the like upper 20s. So the beer, but that's not too cold for beer. I mean, beer should be able to go down to that temperature without any kind of issues. I'm gonna give it.
Mine's been refrigerated.
Jeremy was at 3. Are you around the same?
No, I'm not gonna be that low on it because it's not offensive really in any way, and I was kind of thirsty, and it's doing the job of quenching my thirst, as lagers tend to do for me. That's just kind of what they do. Is they're just something to drink when you're thirsty, but not really want a beer. So I'm going to give it a 4, just because there's nothing really bad about it, but there's nothing good about it.
Keith, from the sound of it, it sounds like you have some differences too from what they're saying.
Yeah, I suspect I'm more in your camp. Maybe it's because we're closer to Boston, so
I
it's
don't know.
it's fresher for us. But I actually find this to be fine. It's a nice spiced lager. It's I mean, I know it's technically a Bock, but that's a kind of lager, so I think we're okay. With that, it's darker. It's a little richer. It's the cinnamon comes through for me.
Mm-hmm.
The little bit of orange peel and a
Mhm.
bunch of the ginger comes through for me. And
Yeah.
it's all very well balanced. It's very palatable. I like it a lot as a spiced beer. I feel it's a beer I could quaff if I wanted to, but I don't have to. I can sip on it too. I think it's pretty good. I would definitely drink it again, and I'll probably drink the other one in the box tonight.
Well,
I think
what
it's
do you
fine.
give? What do you give it?
It's definitely not the best. You know what? You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of some of those nice, really, really big Scottish spiced ales you get, winter ales.
Yep.
And I really want it to be super boozy like those are. So for me, if anything, it's lacking in alcohol.
Oh, what's that one
Scottish
Scottish ale that starts with the B that we had? I'll think of it.
sure.
I'll think of it.
The one I like is called like Head Cracker or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like a 9%er, similar color and style, but it's just all boozy on top of this. But I give this a hearty 6, verging on a 7. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with Keith. I think that all the flavors that they have listed on the label come through really nicely, and it's a nice. The beer itself is kind of a hearty, almost a nutty kind of has a taste to it, and the extra added flavors kind of round that out nicely. I don't taste any bitterness at all. Now I will say that Shinerbach has historically been one of my all-time favorite beers and my favorite Bock, and this one has some similarities to that in its taste. I mean, I know they're both Bocks, but the roundness of the flavor profile, it's similar to me. Not nearly as good as a Shiner Bock, but it's similar. So yeah, I'm
It does kind of taste like a spiced Shiner Bock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
But yeah, I'm just really I would be willing to bet a sizable chunk of money that Jeremy and Gary must have gotten bad batches because.
Well, what I was wondering too is you'll find some of either beer vendors that don't pay attention or don't care will recycle last year's when it comes to be seasonal time again, and they'll bring them back out. And that's why I was wondering is because this is definitely a new label for last year, so I was looking
No, it looks
see
the
if
same.
you had the green winter lager label on it as opposed to last
it's
year.
green. It says orange peel, cinnamon, ginger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's got to be the right one then.
It doesn't
Rob and
say.
I ran into that a few times in the early days where we'd both pick up a seasonal and one would have one and one would have the other.
Yeah.
It says enjoy before May.
Mine says April.
Mine says April.
So mine's fresh.
You know, does Sam Adams always brew in the same location? Do they only brew in Boston, or do they?
No, they don't. They contract brew it, so it's possible that the ones
Yeah.
on the West Coast are coming from a different place and has a different
Maybe that's what happened.
batch.
Yeah, that could be.
That's weird.
But
So
the good news is I got 3 new badges on Untapped with that one check-in.
So to finish up,
Yeah, that's
finish
just-
my rating.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I'm gonna go, like I said, exactly with Keith. It's a strong 6 verging on a 7, but I will stick with the 6.
Yeah.
It's good. It's fine. I would definitely drink another one.
That rounds us out to a 4.75.
So basically, if you're on the East Coast,
Or the South.
north or south is fine. Definitely
East of the Rockies.
Yeah, pick up a pack of this and enjoy the winter lager. If you're not, maybe avoid the Sam's Holiday Pack and use the winter lager.
So from what that tells me is that Keith and I embrace the light side, and perhaps Gary and Jeremy are more dark siders. Because we
Yeah, I'll
now
go
are
with that.
going to move on to the dark side of Sam
Oh, I
Adams.
gotta finish this.
The chocolate. I got to finish it. I'll describe the beer here. It's the chocolate Bock, and what we've got here is carefully roasted malts, robust flavor, premium dark nibs from Ecuador.
So
They slowly age the brew on a bed of cocoa.
Oh my God.
To impart bold
Mine's exploding.
flavors.
Oh, mine too.
Oh,
Hallelujah.
Oh,
really?
yeah, you want to, oh boy, this is making a mess.
Be
Oh
prepared.
dear.
Oh my
Yeah, be
gosh.
prepared.
Oh
I'll be
dear.
right back.
This is, my beer just flew all over me.
I tell you what, boys. I don't know if you caught a whiff of your beer yet, but boy, am I smelling chocolate. I mean, this is probably the most chocolate I've ever smelled from a chocolate brew ever.
I'm gonna open mine over this waste bin here.
Yeah,
Wow. Do you too, Keith?
yeah, no, it's totally huge cocoa, like a dark chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah, I got
Nose to
no explosions. Okay. So the
pours.
Winter Lager
Yeah.
was one of the beers I pulled out from my beer tasting.
Yeah.
Actually, the chocolate Bock too, and we had a 5-point scale on that, and not a lot of people tasted because it was just the one bottle of the Winter Lager that people got to try, so they shared it.
Yeah.
But it had a 3.9 rating out of 5 amongst my guests.
So the 6-7 is probably a good number.
Yeah.
Huh. That's weird.
Well, 3.9 is verging on an 8 out of 10, though. That's,
Yeah, it is.
That's a good score.
Which is actually in line with what Beer Advocate has. They had it at an 8.2, so
Interesting.
or 82. If you're into that whole 100 thing.
So if you're keeping score at home, the Winter Lager was a 5.6 ABV, and this chocolate Bock is a 5.8. But like we said, boy, wow, what an aroma of dark chocolate from this. Man, oh man.
It definitely has a better nose than the other one.
And it poured really thick. Keith, did you pour like almost syrupy?
I didn't even notice the pour because I was too busy trying to contain the eruption.
The explosion. All right. Well, have you boys cleansed your glasses from the Winter Lager?
Pitch black now, I can tell you that.
It's super dark. I mean,
It
it's
is
super
very
dark.
dark.
It's
very
just going to black
thick,
out my screen.
Very thick.
Yeah,
That's
it's
ridiculous.
totally opaque in my glass.
All right.
I'm going to have to come down here with a thing of Windex, though. and clean
Now
my
it smells like a chocolate stout or a chocolate
Sure
porter.
does.
It smells like a chocolate milkshake.
All right, so let's see how the dark side does. You guys ready?
Ready?
All right, Prost. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a definite.
Whew.
Wow,
Wow.
that's just opposite direction, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Those are not good beers to do back to back, I think.
No. Well, especially if your first beer completely sucked because you got a bad batch.
Light versus dark.
Well, I didn't get it. We didn't get a bad batch because the other people in Petaluma thought it was good. So Jeremy and I are just picky.
Boy, can we change the name of this beer to chocolate milk beer?
Oh, it's not that chocolatey.
Wow.
It's pretty chocolatey.
Yeah, it is.
Really?
Yeah, it really is pretty much that chocolatey.
This might be the most chocolate I've had in a beer.
Exactly.
I've had some pretty big imperial chocolate porter stout kind of beers,
Yeah.
but those have other flavors to go along with the chocolate. This is just chocolate. This is like eating a chocolate bar.
Especially in the aftertaste, boy. Nothing but chocolate.
The big thing with people who try to use actual chocolate and not just like some dark malts, some cocoa malts or something, in beers is you tend to get like almost a powdery finish to it. You
Yeah.
can actually taste bits of chocolate and cocoa powder and stuff. And I've never liked that. I find this to be hugely chocolatey, but it's integrated into the beer. So it comes across much smoother, almost like chocolate syrup in
Well,
a beer, almost like Rob was saying, a chocolate milk.
The thing that people have to remember out there in podcast land is what we Americans describe as chocolate is very different from really actual chocolate. We're very used to the homogenized Hershey's milk chocolate taste, which is so different than like
Real chocolate.
cocoa nibs and or even dark chocolate that it's night and day. But I guess brewing your beer on a bed of cocoa is the way to go.
It's kind of got a little bit of that earthy flavor too with the chocolate, more like a true chocolate as opposed to the Hershey
Yeah,
stuff.
it does, but it does have definitely that like almost a creamy back end to it somehow.
Very creamy, yes, like a
that they
chocolate
got.
soda.
Yeah, it really kind of borders on the line of a Yoo-hoo or. I think if they had done this as a milk stout, they probably would have just remade Yoo-hoo.
Yeah.
That would be a really good milk stout.
That would make an excellent milk stout. Yeah.
So let's do reverse order. I like it. It's like we've been saying constantly. It's very chocolatey. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's overly sweet, but there is a sweetness to it. And it's got a really interesting, like very chocolatey finish to it as well. I don't think there's much more to it. Maybe a little kind of toffee roasted flavor to it. Maybe, I don't know. But it's okay. I mean, I will.
There.
Yeah, thanks. I'll give this a 5. I mean, it's okay. It's fine. It's super chocolatey. That's all I can say.
Chocolate?
Keith.
What I like about it is that it is super chocolatey and a little bit creamy, but you don't forget it's a beer. It's not like the flavor overpowers and you forget what you're drinking.
No, yeah.
It
This is
does
beer?
taste like a beer, yeah. So, I mean, it's on the high end, but it's definitely still a beer. You can taste beer. You get a good Bach flavor and balancing everything out and holding it together. So I actually really like it. I think as a dessert beer, I think it's really good. And the nice thing is it seems to work well super cold, and I bet it would get even better as it opened up a little bit because mine are really cold. And it's still good. It didn't turn bitter or anything when it got super cold. So I think they nailed this one. I want to give it a 9.
Whoa.
All right.
I think for what it is, it's perfect.
Okay.
Okay. 9. That's a bold rating there. I think I can't. Was it me or Jeremy?
I think if it was a 7%er, I'd give it a 10.
I think it's to go to you, Gary.
There's really only 3 words to describe this beer: chocolate, chocolate, and chocolate. It is very, very chocolatey to the point where it loses all other characteristics of other flavors for me.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. I mean, to me, this is a much better beer than the lager we had. And if I had the rest of the bottles around, I would certainly pick this one over the lager or a regular Sam Adams any day. But it's got a nice. I mean, it really feels like an imperial chocolate porter to me. I mean, it's got a lot of those like mouthfeel, bubbliness kind of characteristics without the high alcohol content. So that's kind of a good thing, because sometimes those really big imperial chocolate things get, it's a little much to drink a bottle of that. So this is a nice kind of break. It gives you that fullness feeling without having that huge alcohol hit that you get. So I'm going to give this, I think, probably an 8 because it's a really good, solid beer that I'm enjoying and that I'm going to slowly sip on the rest of the show.
Yeah, definitely chocolatey. And kind of, when I first drank it, I really enjoyed it. I like the rich chocolate flavor. I wish I had a little more body to go with that really rich chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah, more like a stout.
Yeah, I really think this wants to be a milk stout.
Yeah.
Sam Adams next year. Come on.
But as the more I drink it, the more I'm just kind of done with it. Like, it's I don't know. It's not keeping my interest. But much better than the winter lager. I'm kind of torn 6 or 7. The more I drink it, the more I tend to 6. But yeah, it probably is a 7 because it's a pretty good beer. I would drink it again. And like Keith said, it doesn't have that powdery sort of cocoa
There's
finish.
no grit.
Chocolate beers have no grit to it. So yeah, it's pretty good. I'd drink it again. So 7.
So that gives us a 7.25 rating out of that beer. Untapped was a 3.7, which is about a 7 point something. So yeah, we're right in line with the rest of the world.
Right
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm gonna feed this to my wife at some point, and she's just gonna love it, and maybe want a scoop of ice cream in it.
Yeah, ice cream would be good in it. It makes me want Young's double chocolate.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not a huge Sam Adams fan. I mean, I think Sam Adams did a lot for the craft beer industry and bringing up beers that were not Bud, Miller, Coors. But to me, their beers haven't done a lot over the years, and their seasonal packs tend to not be my favorite things. But this is good. I think this one is a standout of those, and I would recommend to people to try this one if they haven't had it before.
I really like this one. I really like the sparkling ale too that they came out with. That I thought that was really good as well. And those are the two standouts in this pack. The shiners in this pack.
All right. Well done.
Back on the brain.
Well done, all. We came through that with flying colors. But now we're going to put up our swords and do battle against each other over Star Wars The Force Awakens. All right, so, yeah. Star Wars Force Awakens been out for about, let's say, 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks now?
Yes, dear.
And as of this podcast today, it's taken over the second place all-time domestically for most box office earnings from a film, moving past Titanic, rapidly on its way. Rapidly on its way up, although it still has a long way to go to catch up with Avatar, if you can believe it. Avatar made $2.7 billion worldwide.
That was just on novelty alone, though.
Well, and I think the other thing to pay attention to, the real goal here is Gone with the Wind. When you adjust Gone with the Wind for inflation, oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Well,
everybody in the world saw that movie 3 times.
It's true. But that was back in the days when, there were hardly any other films.
That was the only movie.
You left a movie at a theater for 8 months.
Yeah, that's true.
So, okay. Initial thoughts of the movie. I don't even know where to start. I mean, we could just do a reviews of the movie, but we should just at least talk about some of the story to kind of flesh out where we're coming from. So...
Well, I'll start off with my initial thoughts.
Okay.
There is nothing like that feeling of seeing the opening Star Wars logo with the music on a big screen in the theater. I mean, it could be any of the 7 theatrical releases of Star Wars to date, and I would pay to see just that opening. That being said, I thought that they did an excellent job of following up with the hype of this movie. There's a lot of people detracting from it and saying they copied too much and all that kind of stuff, but if you think about what the original Star Wars movie was, A New Hope, it was a fun adventure in space without a lot of substance and some pretty bad actors. And this movie was all of those things, but with good actors.
Mm-hmm.
And they stayed true to a lot of that old look and feel of the movie, the special effects were there to enhance the movie. They didn't get in the way they did in episodes 1, 2, 3. And I left that theater that night just completely blown away and so happy that we had a new, fresh Star Wars.
That's great. Okay. Well, before we hear maybe from the other two, who perhaps might be on the other side of the issue, I don't know. I don't want to speak for them. I'm going to agree with Gary, and I will tell you that in as much as is possible for a 44-year-old man, I was transported back to my childhood in some ways with this film. As Gary said, the Star Wars, as conceived originally by George Lucas, were designed to be tributes to the Saturday morning serials of the 40s and 50s. The Buck Rogers and Rocket Ship XM and Captain Video and his Video Rangers and the swashbuckling pirate movies too of that era. A lot of style, a lot of flash, a very nice, loosely strung together plot that just helped to enhance the action. Now, he unfortunately went away from all of those in the prequels and just made this visual monstrosity with no plot at all. But good actors, great actors for the most part, just given just nothing horribly to do. But anyway, I digress. The Force Awakens.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
Thank you, Leia. The Force Awakens does have some familiar themes in it. It does have some.
Does have a few familiar themes, does it?
Familiar is not the right word, right?
Just a couple familiar themes, does it?
Well, okay, so you might be mistaking what I'm saying for familiar themes with some identical plots. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah. That could be it.
Very
The
good
familiar,
distinction.
the familiar themes. The familiar themes talking about in terms of family and an emergence of the Force and those kinds of things. That those were similar in this film as well. The MacGuffin device of the Star Killer planet would, if there was anything I would detract from it, would be that I think that the concept they had was a good one. I don't think that they fleshed that out as much as they could. That whole middle section with meeting up with Resistance and plotting this attack on this battle station, it to me felt a little rushed. And I think that I know for a fact that the novelization of this film fleshes that out a lot more. So I'm looking forward to reading that. But anyway, I thought that the characters were great. I fell in love on a platonic level with the characters of Rey. I think that she is just a great, amazing character that they came up with. I like Finn a lot. I like Poe. The new characters were great. I like Kylo Ren. I love the fact that he's a spoiled kid, and when he doesn't get his way, he throws temper tantrums with his lightsaber. I thought that's awesome and incredible.
Yeah. And he's really conflicted. Well, he was really conflicted up to the point of killing his dad. But I mean, he was immature and childish in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So I'm right with Gary. I thought this was a great Star Wars movie. You're not going to get the next Citizen Kane when you go see a Star Wars movie, and because of all the hype that was surrounding it, all the buzz and the incredible reviews, pre-reviews that were coming in, it had a lot to live up to, and for a lot of people it didn't. I don't know whether it was because they thought it was a bad movie or because there was no way it could live up to the hype. I don't know. But anyway, to me it lived up to the hype. I had a lot of great opening my mouth and just giggling with glee, and I thought that my favorite part, though, I'll finish my little semi-review with this, my favorite part was Harrison Ford was back as Han Solo. He invested himself
for a little while.
Fully in that character, and it was great, and it was hysterical, it was awesome, and I thought it was a great movie. I'm going to see it again. All right, guys, go ahead, tear it apart.
I don't have anything to tear it apart about. I think the best part of it was it actually felt like a Star Wars movie for the first time in
Yep,
three
exactly.
movies. You were actually dropped in the middle of a story as it was happening, which is exactly what happened with A New Hope.
Yeah, right.
And every one of those is you felt like you didn't know the characters, stuff was already happening, and you got to start watching from here. And that's exactly what this one did, and I thought that was great. That was awesome. It really just grabbed you and took hold from there. I think what a lot of people are criticizing was actually one of the more genius moves by J.J. Abrams, and that is basically he took the first three movies, and by that I mean episodes 4, 5, and 6, and remixed them. It's all the same themes all over again, but with different characters playing different parts. It's kind of almost, you want to say, the classic Battlestar Galactica line. All this has happened, and all this will happen again. And that's fine because it's a new generation, and they're going through some of the same things. So I think that's cool. I think they did it well. But to try to play down that anything new happened in this, I think you're nuts. Which is why I was laughing at Rob. But that, and I like to laugh at Rob. But
well, I heard there was a big Star Destroyer, big planet-like thing, and they blew it up.
Yeah,
That's
Jeremy
it.
hasn't seen the movie, but he doesn't.
I have not seen the movie.
You still haven't seen the movie?
No.
Oh.
Old man Brooks, would you go out and spend a dime on a
Jesus.
goddamn talkie?
I will take you to the movie. Shit.
I just haven't had time to do it. I did see Sherlock. I'm getting there.
Which one? The 1940s version of Sherlock?
You can save that for your pick.
I have a defense of why I think the MacGuffin worked in this film that I gave to someone, a friend of mine on Facebook, kind of said it was the same old thing tried before, and I basically I wrote a 3,500 word response. I couldn't stop writing.
Tried twice before, but you know what? So I was pretty bitter about this movie just because the last 3 Star Wars movies were so incredibly awful, and then I started reading. I read all the reviews and the spoilers, and it was the same movie. It was just Star Wars made over again.
Mm-hmm.
But in a different way, which kind of irritated me. And then I read this great article about why that shouldn't bother you, because it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
You turn your brain off, you go watch the movie, and then you turn your brain back on.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it should be. It should just be
a
fun movie that you don't have to think too hard. And I'm actually really looking forward to that, because Star Wars, the first Star Wars, is one of the great movies ever made.
Well, and I think that's exactly what JJ did on purpose. I mean, he took all the same themes, but he mixed them up so they'd be a little different for you. He put them in a different order. He used different actors and different characters to play the different parts.
Yeah.
So, you kind of saw what was coming, but you didn't, because you didn't expect it to be that character this time. Once you saw what was going on. I think that was good. That's what J.J. Abrams does. He picked on all the nostalgia from all of us that had it as kids. And he played to all of those great feelings again. And he set up this wonderful base for the next movies to really come on and start shining and telling us something different.
It's like watching a Bond movie. You know exactly what you're getting, and you like it.
He basically saved the franchise in one shot and set it up so that the next people, okay, if you follow this style but not this storyline, you'll be able to go new places with it, and that's what they set up for the upcoming Rogue One, as well as as Episode 8 and 9. So I think they're in a good position. I mean, you had to have one movie that really just made up for everything that the last 3 movies ruined, and I think this does it wonderfully. I think it's really good.
And it cannot be understated that. We're talking about. First of all, I agree with Gary about the special effects. I love the fact that J.J. Abrams did so many practical effects. There was a lot of CGI in it, of course, but there was also a lot of real practical effects and actual Millennium Falcon and all those kinds of things. So
I need to go back and see it again so that I can really start to appreciate that.
So I about the practical effects versus the special effects, the CGI effects. there's this shot where Ray, it's early in the movie where Ray's, I think she's walking home, and there's this like vulture-looking bird that's like pecking at something.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, I
And-
know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
And it looks so fake, and I firmly believe that J.J. Abrams did that deliberately, as a ding
Yeah.
on the episodes 1 through 3, saying this
I'm
could have
not
been a
gonna do
CGI
this.
bird, but we're putting this animatronic thing that looks like it came out of Disneyland from 1972 into this movie on purpose. And to me, that was great. I loved seeing that kind of stuff in the movie, and I laughed. I saw that bird and I laughed because to me it was totally making fun of what George Lucas had done in episodes 1 through 3. And speaking of fun, the one thing that I think J.J. Abrams did that George Lucas didn't do so much in the first one was add a lot of humor into this movie,
Yeah.
because there were a lot of times in this movie that
Hysterical.
were just hysterically funny, and a lot of those were like kind of inside jokes about the movies and what's going on, like the scene when when Finn and Ray are running to get the ship, and she says, "Oh no, that one's a piece of junk," and then you see the
Millennium
piece,
Falcon.
and then you see this, and then later it's like, "Oh no, we're taking that piece of junk," and it's the Millennium Falcon. So there's a lot of things like that I thought he did really well.
Incidentally, the guy the guy that she was working for that she stole that ship from, that big fat guy, was Simon Pegg.
I don't know who that is.
No,
Played by
I thought Simon Pegg was the stormtrooper.
No, that's Daniel Craig. It was
Daniel
the
Craig was this one.
Daniel Craig was the stormtrooper.
Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg from Spaced and Shaun of the Dead and all that kind of stuff. He was the guy that owned the Millennium Falcon.
So I have a question for those who have seen the movie. When Han and Chewie get back on the Millennium Falcon, and Rey says something to the effect of, "You mean the Millennium Falcon that did the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs?"
Mhm.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Did you? I actually said out loud,
Well-
not even thinking about it. I said
I know.
it was 12, like
You can see
almost at the exact same time that Han said it.
You can see on his-
I seriously
was
said it
brilliant.
out loud.
Oh,
was
that's so funny. Oh, and the
It's the little moments like that that really made this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, the other one that stands out. The other one stands out to me is when they're on the winter Death Star planet and Chewie's complaining and Han Solo says, "You're cold."
Yeah, that was great.
But see, the thing about that, let me just expand on that for just 1 second because Gary brings up an important point.
Really?
For some reason, in our minds, in the American culture's minds, they've built up Star Wars to somehow be the Shakespearean experience with these
It's not.
incredibly well-delivered lines. When you go back to the original Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back and you listen to the way they talked, it was very colloquial for the time, for the 1970s and early 80s. They had a lot of the same kind of idioms and things that they used, and so you noticed it in this movie too, and that was just fine to me.
Yep.
I had no problem with that because that's what they set up in the
Yeah,
original
because
movie.
that was the universe they created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one thing that this movie did for me that I'm a little disappointed in is that up until the Saturday before Christmas, I was a person who tried to defend episodes 1 through 3 because I thought they were important stories, and they were the story of how Anakin became Darth Vader and how the Emperor came to power are important to the redemption of Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi. But
agree with
once
that.
I saw
Not
this
only
movie,
not only
Well-
important, Gary, but essential.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, that's the key plot point of the whole episode 4, 5, and 6 is redeeming Darth Vader.
I think the storyline is brilliant, and it always has been. The way it was executed was terrible.
Yeah.
That was the conclusion that it brought to me. I would watch those movies and I would still enjoy them, but after seeing what J.J. Abrams did for Star Wars and how he brought it back to its roots, episodes 1 through 3 for me are things that should have been done as books or comic books and never made into movies.
No, they could have done the stories. They really could have. Because what JJ did, and like what I was saying,
He ruined those movies for me.
I agree.
bastard.
But the story, the way that that this episode works, and the way that A New Hope works specifically, where you dropped into the middle of a story that's been going on and you haven't seen it. If he had just done that, the whole character building exercises that were done in the first 3 movies or in the prequels were unnecessary and completely out of style for Star Wars.
Yeah, they tried to do it.
That's what ruined it.
Yeah, they tried to do it. But
If you remember
They
back
could have
to-
even kept Jar Jar in if Jar Jar had just
Hey,
a
hey,
small part.
hey, hey, hey.
Maybe
But
not.
Jar
Maybe
Jar, but Jar Jar had
Don't
such a
do
huge
that.
part because of the huge character building exercise they went through.
Jar
and
Jar
world
was an
building.
exercise in stupidity.
Yeah, I mean, but we didn't need to know about the Gungam underwater world. That whole thing was unnecessary. That could have been done in a 5-second clip, and let us fill in the blanks. You don't have to explain it all. You don't have to show us all of
press
that
version
stuff.
of the first of episodes 1, 2, 3 that
Yeah.
Jeremy linked us to,
Right.
they didn't
Exactly.
even show anything from episode 1.
Well, the fact that the entire first episode, your basic antagonist is a trade embargo should tell you all you need to know about the episode 1. But if you remember a few months back when my pick for the week was how Star Wars conquered the universe,
Yeah, that's agreed.
one of the things they said in that book was that George Lucas's vision for the prequels was that he wanted them to be visual jazz, that he wanted them to be movies. And I've said this about the prequels a long time ago before I ever heard this, that if you turned the sound or the vocal track off of the prequels, it's a great movie. It's incredible looking. The special effects are amazing. And Lucas has said himself that he envisioned these movies as something that you would be able to watch and enjoy without any sound, that the plot was really secondary. He created the films that he wanted.
Which is too bad.
Yeah, which is a shame.
And the other thing I will say from a plot standpoint is that in the prequels, they always say that Anakin's not supposed to be they never say he's the savior. They always say about him that he's supposed to bring balance to the Force.
And that's what I said after watching
That's
it, was that he
exactly
did.
what he did.
He did.
Even all the way up through Return of the Jedi.
I've always
Brought
said that.
balance to the Force. No one, when you think about this, no one could have killed the Emperor but him.
Right.
He was the only one that could have done it.
That's an interesting point that I think that there's 2 things I want to say about this new movie before we leave. The fact that he killed the Emperor and Kylo Ren's obsession with Darth Vader. I think that in this new reboot of Star Wars that people don't know what happened to Darth Vader.
Exactly, yes.
Right. No, and I love that.
And
No
it's
one was
because
there in that
that whole generation has disappeared into myth, and no one believed that it existed.
No one knows that
That's
Vader turned at the
awesome.
end. Nobody knows.
Kylo Ren still is trying to finish what Vader started, and
Right.
actually Vader finished what Vader started. He finished it on the Death Star, and then Luke brought him down and burned him. So I think that's a really cool point. Is that people just it's mythology.
And even at the end of Return of the Jedi,
and that's where it should be. That's so perfect.
Even at the end of Return of the Jedi, when Luke goes to Endor, we don't know if he actually told anyone.
He's the only one at the fire. No one else is there.
As far as we know, the entire galaxy believed Vader to be evil until the very end.
I think Leia knows.
I don't know.
I think he talked to us.
I
think there's a knowing look there that happened that she was glad that he was able to do it, and I think that's acknowledged in this movie too.
Yes, she sees something in him that's similar to Vader.
That's similar to Vader, so she sends him to Luke because
Right.
Luke was able to fix Vader in the end.
Yeah, but it's a secret that only those 2 know.
I think you may be right, and certainly the rest of the population, certainly Rey and Finn and those people, have no idea.
And maybe that's on purpose because
totally.
who would believe them?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
For all the incredible evil, I mean, think back to what Vader did in the prequels. He slaughtered dozens of kid Jedis, and he's probably killed thousands of people over the course of the original trilogy. Who would believe that all of a sudden he turned good at the end? It'd be akin to saying Hitler turned good at the end and saved humanity instead of trying to extinguish it.
Something like that, yeah. So my second point, because we got to move on to picks, is that going back to what Rob said about Rey, as the father of 3 daughters, it
Thank
was
you.
pretty awesome to see a female character that was. I mean, there's been a lot of movies with strong female characters, but the Star Wars universe is not one of those places that tends to be full of strong female characters that are in a lead role, and a female character that looks at men as really truly equals and kind of like, what are you doing? Because there were a lot of times where she was looking at Finn going, what are you doing? He was like trying to like.
He was the neophyte. He was the one that didn't know how to do anything.
Yeah, and she was like, why are you holding my hand? Quit holding my hand. And she was just. It wasn't that she was overly strong. It was that she was who she was. And that was it. It was that this is who Rey is. It's not. And
I really look forward to filling that storyline out.
Yeah, it wasn't over the top feminism. It was just. Yeah. Here's Rey. She is a character. She is on par with Finn and Han and Leia and Luke.
And it was never said or even implied that, hey, look what a great hero Rey is, even though she's a woman. It was never. She just was cool. She just was a hero, and that is the best way to enforce that perception of women. Because we had this perception of Princess Leia that she was this incredible hero.
You never saw it.
She was not. She never got to do any of that hard. The most active thing she ever did was kill Jabba the Hutt with a chain.
Or court the Ewoks.
But otherwise, she was always screaming. Yeah,
she was always plenty of stormtroopers.
Well,
whatever. She saw as many stormtroopers as Han did.
She's never portrayed to be the badass that I think she was supposed to be.
I think this movie portrayed the heroes on a gender basis as truly equal. It wasn't over the top with Rey's this awesome woman. It was that she is on par with everybody else. All of them are the same. There's not one that's better than the other. And that it was truly more of an equality thing as opposed to trying to build up Rey. And I think that is the most important thing, is that everybody's equal.
Shout out to Oscar Isaac too, and the character of Poe. It's a great kind of he's picking up the mantle of Han Solo as the wisecracking action guy.
Actually, Poe is my least favorite character.
Oh, I loved Poe.
I think
BB-8?
Poe was set up as the best starfighter in the Rebel Army and blah 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 blah, and he's just a cocky asshole. That's how he came across.
There's nothing wrong with that to me, though. There's nothing wrong with that.
He's near as cocky as Han Solo was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but Han Solo you found endearing, even from the beginning.
All right, so
I never got that feeling from Poe.
So from the three of us,
Poe didn't do anything to save anyone until later on in the movie. Poe got his butt saved. So
except for the fact that Poe saved
map
Finn
in BB-8,
and he saved Finn, getting him off the station.
Yeah, that was pretty important.
Because Finn could not pilot the ship.
Get him off the station.
No, they saved each other.
I'm sure I'll grow to love him.
Anyway,
I'm not a Poe fan right now.
The three
we can
of us
talk about Lord Santaka next episode.
Yeah, the three of us who've seen the movie have apparently really enjoyed it. Jeremy has failed again and not seeing anything really to do with pop culture. So maybe he'll see it sometime. Who knows? But we have to press on.
Go out and watch the prequels.
It'll be on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
We're going to press on and finish out this Star Wars show with our half-pint segments for the week. That's right. We've got some picks coming at you right now. That's not Star Wars.
No.
That's Star Wars.
How about that? That better?
No, that's not. No. You had Star Wars sound effects the whole episode.
How about that?
Move on.
It's
kind of like Star Wars.
That's the THX, yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah, the THX,
Jeremy,
that's good.
Let's start with Jeremy, since he hasn't got to say much this episode. We've got some news coming from an old band coming out with some new music.
So my pick this week is the 22nd and final Motorhead album. Lemmy died in late December at 70 years old, but before that, he was 69, and he was still in the studio, still recording, and they still sound fantastic. If you have any remote like for Motorhead, check out Bad Magic. It's a Motorhead album. It sounds like them, feels like them. It's good stuff.
The
If
fact
you
that
use
he could be
prescription
doing that.
drugs regularly, you may be a big fan of Motorhead.
You know,
No,
I'm not a huge Motorhead fan, but I think it's great music. It's rock and roll.
That's the thing. Is that? But if you can be rocking at that age, I mean, I'm getting closer to 50 these days. But I mean, that guy was he was 70 when he died. If he was rocking like that when he was that age, if I can be doing that, I'm a happy man.
All right. By the way, as we go into Gary's pick, Gary, you got a little of the Keanu Reeves beard thing happening tonight.
You insult me far too much.
No, you look a little like a little John Wick tonight.
I can't grow a real beard. This is like almost. God, I think I shaved before I saw. The last time I even tried to shave was before Star Wars. So this is really, since Star Wars came out, this is what it looks like for me, and it's not very much. So is it really
your pick? Yeah, go ahead.
This is my pick right here. This thing.
Oh, what do we have in there?
This is the Evergreen Flask, and it's EVRGRN. It's like a stainless steel flask. My wife got this for me for Christmas, and it's got Maker's Mark in it right now.
Oh.
It's awesome. This is a perfect little 8-ounce flask that's very sturdy and very sealed tight, and helped me enjoy the rest of all that Sam Adams beer. So that's my pick. You can pick it up at RAI. It's an awesome little flask designed in Washington but made in China. As is everything. So that's fine, but it's good. I've been looking for a really good flask. I actually bought one. I bought a Coleman flask a while back, and I started to pour some whiskey into it, and I looked at the table, and the table was all wet. I'm like, God, I must have missed or something. The flask actually leaked. It was brand new, and it leaked. It was this cool Coleman flask with like a leather thing glued to it, and it was just an absolute piece of junk. But this thing is like a single solid piece of stainless steel that's brushed, and it will never leak and fulfill all of my needs.
All of your flask needs.
All your flasky flask needs.
Yes.
All right, Keith, what is your pick for the week?
I have a super nerdy pick, so strap in.
Righty. strap on.
My pick is a company called Neverwhere, and they are making a little app that basically a software installer wrapper that works around Google's Chromebook service. So what it does is you can take any laptop that's like a little bit older and maybe running a little bit slow, and you can run this software service and turn it into a Chromebook. So I have here an older Lenovo that I tested this on, and I ran their software on it, and I don't know if it'll show up on my camera here, but you can see it's running Google Chrome OS on it right now. But with a regular laptop, the CD drive still works. It has a regular size hard drive. Most of the Chromebooks you get today don't have a good size hard drive. It's super fast. And it works, and I was amazed when I did it. I kind of saw this come by my radar a few months ago, and I finally had some time over the holidays to try it out on some older machines I have laying around here. And I think I'm going to install it on a bunch of them, and then maybe, I don't know, sell them or something. I don't know, but this basically takes a laptop that's maybe 5 or 7 years old that would be a little bit out of date, and makes it perfectly usable again.
As a Chromebook?
As a Chromebook.
I'll take one. Seriously.
Well,
we have an old
Chromebook
that the kids use for homework, and it's the monitor is dying on the thing. It's probably like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
We only pay like $200 for it, and it's dying. So if you got another one that I can replace it with, I'll do it.
I'll send you one, Gary.
Right.
It's really great. They call it Cloud Ready, is the service, but if you go to neverwhere.com, you can look at it, and it's a dead simple install.
I will toast that.
Yeah, it's really cool. You just make a little thumb drive that has their wrapper with their drivers around the Chrome install, and you plug it in and you install it. It wipes your hard drive and sets up Chrome OS on it, and it's freaking brilliant. I love it. It's worked really good on one, and this is not one of the ones that they had as certified working machines. This machine was not on their approved list. It still worked, and everything about it works. It works. The Bluetooth works. The Wi-Fi works. Everything works right out of the box. I just signed in with my Google account and went. It was awesome.
This is certified to work.
Yes. Your flask is probably Neverwhere ready.
Is it working?
It's working.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So anyway, that's my pick.
All right, so I have a pick for the evening, but I just want to stay first. I saw this later this afternoon, and you have to take a look at it. I put the link in the chat room for the guys. Maybe put it in the show notes. My favorite all-time comic strip was Calvin and Hobbes, and love Calvin and Hobbes. And today, Bill Watterson, creator and illustrator of Calvin and Hobbes, recreated some of the more famous panels from Calvin and Hobbes using Star Wars characters, and they are awesome. You must go and see. If there's any comic strip I ever wanted to just continue forever or come back, it would be Calvin and Hobbes. Just love that comic strip. So anyway, check that out. My pick for the week, sticking with the Star Wars theme, is Star Wars Battlefront. Battlefront is a long-running first-person shooter set in the Star Wars universe, and the new game debuted at the beginning of November, so it's been out a couple months now. And I got it just before Christmas, and I've just been playing the heck out of it. I've played a lot of first-person shooters in my time, Halo and Call of Duty and all those kinds of things, but I will tell you that no first-person shooter has ever come as close, even minuscule amount, to making me feel like I was in an actual battle than Star Wars Battlefront. It is just an incredible, just for the sound effects alone of the blaster and the pops going off all around you, and there's a lot of, believe me, like the prequels, there is no plot to this game at all. The game is
a video game.
It's just multiplayer. You're going on to play the multiplayer. There are a lot of great multiplayer modes. There's a walker assault where the stormtroopers have to defend the Imperial walkers coming down the way, and the rebels have to keep these uplinks so that the Y-wings can come and you can destroy the. Oh, it is awesome and amazing. And not only do you have that, but you have hero power-ups that you can find every once in a while, so that all of a sudden you can become Darth Vader striding through the battlefield, throwing your lightsaber at people, force choking people. It is incredible. I love this game. Go and get it if you have a console or a PC that can handle it. Star Wars Battlefront's really cool.
I might do that. I have a PC that I could.
So good, so good.
I'm checking the specs to see if I can do that, but there's too many pop-up ads.
Yes, and to answer somebody's question, yes, you can fly vehicles, X-wings, TIE fighters, Millennium Falcon, snow speeders, all of that's in there. It's incredible.
If they combine that with the Oculus Rift, that would be freaking awesome.
Oof. Yeah.
Rift is $600 and be out in what, 3 months?
If I could
2 months?
fly the Millennium Falcon, I would pay that $600.
So good.
It's cheaper than a flight on the freaking Virgin Galactic.
How's that Maker's working for you?
Yeah.
It's going pretty good.
That's going really good.
Blast. All right, gentlemen, do you have any closing thoughts? Go see Star Wars Force Awakens for sure.
Whiskey's good Christmas present. That's my thoughts.
There you go.
I'm going to play the music before Gary gets blind drunk.
All right, guys, thank you so much. You can find us at PNRShow@gmail.com. We can get us on Twitters. We're on the Slack. We're on the Google+. Any of those ways. Let us know if you want to be a part of the show. Send us feedback. Let us know what you like to drink. Happy New Year. Scruffy-looking nerf herders.